Hey friends and neighbors, Dave Peterson here, davesguitarplanet.com. In this series, I'm just going to talk about some of my guitars, just ramble on a little bit about them. And the first one up, the one I've had the longest of the collection that I have right now, is this 1975 Fender Stratocaster, made in America, made in California, I believe. How I came to get it was I was playing in a lounge band in Seattle where I grew up, and I had a homemade copy of a Gibson Melody Maker with humbucking pickups, and I was teaching guitar to a guy that had a different Strat, and I asked him if I could borrow it and bring it to the gig, and I played it with the band, and everybody in the band said, "Oh man, that Strat just really fits in with the music better than my other guitar," so I had to pick up a Strat. And in part of Seattle called North City, there was a pawn shop called Al's, and he had a lot of guitars in there, and I picked this one up for, I think it was $350, something like that at the time, used of course. This was around 1980 something, and it's the one I've had the longest of my current collection. I started out with a Harmony Hollywood when I was 8 years old is when I started playing the guitar, and lost that to a friend. It was just an acoustic with F-holes, cheap one. I'd had a Gibson 335 that I let go of, maybe stupidly, but I needed something else in trade. I'd had a couple Ovations. Anyway, this has been a real workhorse for me. I think it's not one of the best Strats out there. This was made in the CBS era. CBS bought Fender in 1965, around there, and most people think the quality kind of declined. They did some things to get a more high profit margin or be able to sell things for a little cheaper or something. But a Strat is pretty much a Strat. It's got the 5-position switch. This is just this pickup, good for rocking. And then these two pickups, the next position, this is 5-way switch. Kind of funky and very crisp. I think Clapton uses that one a lot, but probably puts a different tone on it. And the middle one is just the middle pickup, I think. So kind of neutral sounding. And then next is these two pickups, which is I don't use that position very much. Some guys do. And then this is just the neck pickup, which is the most mellow sounding, and if you were going to play jazz, you might do it that way. By the way, I'm playing through a Swart Atomic Space Tone Pro amp. I took the his label off. Michael Swart. Nothing against Michael, but when I'm making my videos, I don't really want people focusing on the name of the amp. But it's a dynamite amp. I might do a video about it. It was kind of the answer to a big tone quest that I did about a year ago. And I'm going out of this is an all-tube amplifier made in Wilmington, North Carolina, handmade by Michael Swart, and into a Fryette Power Station 2, which is kind of an attenuator, the new type they call a reactive attenuator, where it emulates what a speaker does. So I've got the amp cranked up to about 7 out of 12 or something, to where the tubes get into the sweet spot. A little bit of an overdrive there. I prefer it better than an actual overdrive pedal, to have an actual tube overdrive. So what else about this? The shop I bought it from, Al's, later became Guitarville, and now they're out on Aurora Avenue, if you know Seattle. And Al, the original owner, and his sons Al had some, like 6 D'Angelicos I heard rumored at one point, and he sold guitars to, I heard, people like Stephen Stills and George Benson. But kind of a legendary guitar shop in Seattle. This has the polyurethane finish. It's an ash body. Not in that great a shape. You know, polyurethane is the very tough finish, not the nitrocellulose that the early guitars were made of, that show the relicking a little bit more, or the age. This was probably pretty beat up when I bought it. I used D'Addario 9s on this, which look like this. Probably one of the most popular string makers out there. There's others, Ernie Ball, etc. They're similar, but I've always, in the past many years, used D'Addarios. And these are very bendy. What else about this? Yeah, it's got the big head from the 70s, which I don't really care for, but I guess some people like. I had a guy refret it. I was living in Berkeley, California, and his name was Pete Webster. Pretty funny guy. He had a shop called Guitarorama, and he had put big jumbo frets on one of his Strats, and I played it, and I go, "Can you do that to mine?" Well, I should have had somebody else do it, because when he pulled out the former original frets, he chipped away a lot of the finish that was on the neck. He didn't do a very tidy job of it, but as far as it goes, it works okay. What else can I tell you about this? I think the pickups are original. I did have the switch replaced a few years ago because it was getting real scratchy. I might have had the potentiometers for the volume and the 2 tone knobs replaced. I think everything else is pretty much stock. Oh, I had the new pick guard put on. I put on a new pick guard. I think the original one didn't have the 3-ply, it was just a single ply, real basic. This is a 3-screw bolt-on neck. The strings go through the body. These are called the ferrules. Thread the strings through there. So it's not a vibrato Strat, not tremolo, what they call a hardtail. Tuners are original, and once it's in tune, which is not hard, it stays in tune pretty well. So I've had this for a long time. It's worth, I think, more than $350 now, but it's never going to become a real valuable guitar. Maybe somebody might pay $1,500 or something for it. The first Strats were released in 1954 from Fender. Alrighty, that's my 1975 Fender Stratocaster. Give you a little close-up look here. You can see the neck has some dings in it, but it doesn't bother me.